On Wild Ghost Day, a group of friends decided to explore the famous Haunted Hollow, a place rumored to be filled with ghosts. They were all excited, especially Tim, who loved anything related to the paranormal. "This will be the best adventure ever," Tim exclaimed, his eyes shining with excitement. Sarah, on the other hand, was a bit nervous but didn't want to seem like a coward. The group included Tim, Sarah, Jack, and Emma, all eager to see if the ghost stories were true. As they reached the entrance of Haunted Hollow, the air grew colder, sending shivers down their spines. Jack, always the joker, laughed and said, "Maybe the ghosts are turning up the AC for us." Emma rolled her eyes but couldn't help but smile at Jack's attempt to lighten the mood. They ventured deeper into the hollow, flashlights flickering in the dense fog. "Do you think we'll actually see a ghost?" Sarah whispered, clutching her flashlight tightly. "Of course," Tim replied confidently. "It's Wild Ghost Day, after all." Suddenly, a loud rustling noise came from the bushes, making them all jump. "It's probably just a squirrel," Jack said, though his voice was slightly shaky. The rustling grew louder, and out of the bushes came a tour guide. "Welcome to Haunted Hollow," the guide said with a grin. "Ready for the ghost tour?" The friends burst into laughter, relieved that it wasn't a ghost. "You scared us," Emma said, still giggling. The guide chuckled and said, "That's the spirit now. Let's see if we can find some real ghosts." They followed the guide through winding paths, hearing stories of ghost sightings and eerie events. The guide pointed to an old mansion in the distance. "That's the most haunted place in the hollow." "Let's go," Tim said, his enthusiasm not dampened in the slightest. As they approached the mansion, the atmosphere grew tense, and even Jack stopped joking. The mansion was ancient, with broken windows and overgrown vines, looking like it came straight out of a horror movie. "This place gives me the creeps," Sarah muttered, glancing around nervously. The guide opened the creaky door, and they stepped inside, the floorboards creaking under their feet. "Legend has it that this mansion was home to a wealthy family who disappeared mysteriously," the guide explained. "And their ghosts still haunt this place," he added with a dramatic pause. The friends exchanged nervous glances but continued to explore the mansion. As they walked through the dimly lit hallways, they heard faint whispers and footsteps behind them. "Did you hear that?" Emma asked, her voice trembling. "It's just the wind," Jack said, though he didn't sound convinced. Suddenly, a door slammed shut behind them, making them all jump in fear. "Okay, that was definitely not the wind," Sarah said, her heart racing. The guide smiled mysteriously. "Maybe it's the ghosts welcoming you." They continued exploring, finding old portraits with eyes that seemed to follow them. "Creepy," Tim muttered, feeling a bit less enthusiastic now. In one room, they found a grand piano covered in dust, and Tim couldn't resist playing a note. As soon as he did, the piano started playing on its own, filling the room with eerie music. "I didn't do that," Tim exclaimed, stepping back quickly. The guide chuckled. "The mansion has a mind of its own. Or maybe it's the ghosts enjoying the music." Despite their fear, the friends couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of the situation. They moved to the next room, where they found a collection of antique mirrors. "They say these mirrors can show you the spirits that inhabit the mansion," the guide said ominously. One by one, they looked into the mirrors, half expecting to see a ghostly figure. "I see something," Emma gasped, pointing at her reflection. The others rushed to look, only to find it was just a trick of the light. "Nice one, Emma," Jack said, shaking his head with a grin. The tension eased as they realized how easily they were getting spooked. They continued their tour, finding more strange and creepy things around the mansion. In the attic, They found old toys and dolls that looked like they hadn't been touched in years. "I'm not a fan of creepy dolls," Sarah said, backing away slowly. "Don't worry, they're just toys," the guide said, but his tone wasn't very reassuring. Just then, one of the dolls fell off the shelf, landing at Sarah's feet. She screamed, and the others laughed, though their nerves were starting to fray. The guide then led them to the basement, the final stop on their tour. The basement was dark and musty, with strange symbols carved into the walls. "This is where the family conducted their seances," the guide explained. "Seances," Jack repeated, his interest piqued. "Yes, they tried to contact the spirits of the dead," the guide said. The friends gathered around an old table in the center of the room. "Let's try it," Tim suggested, always up for an adventure. They all joined hands, trying to contact any spirits that might be lingering. "If there are any ghosts here, give us a sign," Tim called out, half joking. For a moment, nothing happened, and they all felt a bit silly. But then, the candles around the room flickered, and a cold breeze swept through. "Did you feel that?" Sarah whispered, her eyes wide with fear. The table started to shake, and they all pulled their hands away in panic. "This isn't funny anymore," Emma said, backing away from the table. The guide, however, seemed unfazed. "Sometimes the spirits like to play tricks." "Let's get out of here," Jack suggested, feeling uneasy. They quickly made their way back up the stairs, eager to leave the mansion behind. As they exited the mansion, the sun was setting, casting an orange glow over the hollow. "That was intense," Tim admitted, feeling a bit shaken but exhilarated. "I can't believe we did that," Sarah said, still trying to catch her breath. "It was scary but fun," Emma added, smiling at the adventure they just had. The guide smiled and said, "You've all been brave today, facing your fears." "Maybe there's a lesson in that," Jack said thoughtfully, "that sometimes we just need to face the unknown." The friends nodded in agreement, realizing that the haunted mansion had taught them something important. "We can handle anything after this," Sarah said confidently. They left Haunted Hollow with a sense of accomplishment, their fears replaced with pride. As they walked away, they heard a faint voice say, "Come back soon." They all turned around but saw nothing, just the mansion standing silently in the distance. "Did you guys hear that?" Tim asked, his eyes wide. "Let's not think about it," Jack said quickly, leading the way out of the hollow. The group laughed, deciding it was probably just their imaginations. "World Ghost Day was definitely one to remember," Emma said as they walked back to their car. "Next year, we should visit another haunted place," Tim suggested. "How about somewhere less creepy?" Sarah asked with a grin. "But where's the fun in that?" Jack replied, already planning their next adventure. They all agreed that this was a day they would never forget. As they drove away, the haunted hollow slowly faded into the distance, leaving behind only memories. The friends felt closer than ever, having shared an experience that tested their courage. They realized that facing their fears together made them stronger. "Here's to more adventures and facing the unknown," Tim said, raising an imaginary toast. They all laughed, knowing that this was just the beginning of many more thrilling escapades. World Ghost Day had turned out to be more than just a scary holiday. It was a lesson in bravery and friendship. "Next time, let's bring more friends along," Emma suggested, already excited for the future. The car sped down the road, carrying them away from Haunted Hollow, but not from the memories they made. As the night fell, they felt a sense of satisfaction, knowing they had conquered their fears. And as they looked back one last time, they knew that the spirits of Haunted Hollow were smiling, pleased with their visit.